Hello, hi everyone, how have you been? Today I'm very excited to talk about one of the latest AI technologies, or you could say a trend which has come in with this particular platform or a tool which is called as ChatGPT. Well, we are living in the world of chatbots where human conversations have been replaced with chatbots. ChatGPT is also exactly similar to that. It's a chatbot that is based on the GPT-3 language model, and it's developed by a company called OpenAI. It is designed to be able to understand and respond to user input in a way that simulates human conversation. Like when you talk to it, you'll feel like you are talking to a human. Today we'll be exploring what exactly ChatGPT is all about, and we'll try to run few, commands and queries and see how exactly it responds to it. So let's get the ball rolling. As we have seen in our daily day-to-day lives, a chatbot is exactly similar to something like Alexa, which Amazon provides, or could be the Google Home, right? A chatbot is nothing but a special kind of a computer program that can talk to you like a human, like a person. It can answer your questions, like it tells you the weather and stuff like that, and even have a conversation with you. You play around with that, right? Some chatbots are really smart and can understand a lot of different things. Some are even funnier and more playful than real people. Well, let us see what ChatGPT has to offer us. Well, OpenAI is the company who has built this. Well, jumping on to the practicals, let's go to openai.com, which is the company which has built these models and built this ChatGPT product. And to go, we have to sign up into ChatGPT. Of course, as soon as you log in or come on to this particular platform through the browser, you will be seeing this option where they have this version. You can call it a beta version or a tryout version of ChatGPT. Just click on this try, and that should open up a page where you will have to sign up. Let I don't have a account here, so let me sign up by providing my details. Click on the sign up link. Let me give my email, which is pegaworld2022 at gmail.com, and I would say I'm not a robot. Click continue, and then it will ask you to choose a password. I would say okay, it's accepting my password. Click continue, and then once this is done, let's not save it. It asks me to verify. I do have my email open here. I have got that verification email. Let me click on that. Verify your email address, and then it will ask you to pretty much, choose your name. I will put my name here, Abdul Qadir, and say continue. It will ask me to verify my phone number. Let me do that and get the code 848. Once you provide your phone number, you would receive a code on your phone. I have received mine on my phone from OpenAI.api 122. Voila! Now I am into the ChatGPT environment. So if you see, it is telling you this is a free research preview, which means that this product is still in research and they are trying to, test it out. Click on next and see that what they're trying to do, how we collect, they're trying to collect some data to train their models. They're saying conversations may be reviewed by the AI trainers to improve our systems. They're going to capture what you're going to put here. So be careful, don't provide any sensitive information. For example, your could be your SSN or your credit card number, some a picture which has any details about you, sensitive information. Make sure you're careful about that. Click next here. Also, they also want you to, there is a dialogue where you can say, if you like the answer, you can say yes, and that helps them improve their model. And also there is a Discord group where you can join and you can understand what they're trying to do. If you just click on this thing, this will open that server. You can join this and see what conversations are happening with respect to this, and you can just choose a name and you can go in there and test it out. Well, I don't want to do it right now. Let me come back to ChatGPT and say okay, done. Well, this is the console which you'll be using for ChatGPT. something which I can do is, right now I feel like this is too bright. I can change this to a dark mode. How can I do it? On the left panel, you'll see something like this option to change it to dark mode. I like the dark mode. Let me switch to that. Once we come here, let's try to see what is it showing here for us right now. Let's start with capabilities. The capabilities, it's telling ChatGPT remembers what user said earlier in the conversation. In the sense, when you're talking to someone, there is always a context you set. The ChatGPT also comes with that particular feature. For example, if I'm asking about something, it remembers the context. For example, it could be a certain topic which I'm trying to learn with respect to, let's say, math. And if I'm asking GPT about a mathematical problem, it understands the context and it remembers it. Of course, if you spin off a new conversation, a new query, then it of course doesn't remember that, but in the given context it remembers that. Of course, once you have received a response, you can also try to correct that. For example, if the given answer is not something which you like, you can uh, ask for a follow-up or a correction in a given answer, and ChatGPT will be happy to do that for you. One important thing is the AI here, the models are trained to decline any inappropriate request. Could be any malicious request, something which is harmful. You can ask for it and it's going to decline. Of course, there are multiple ways they have tried to, go around and hack it, but most in 9 times in 10 cases, it denies you and it doesn't give you results for it and it stops the request then and there. So let's go to the limitations. What are limitations? May occasionally generate incorrect information. This could be because these models are trained for data which is present in a previous duration. It's not current, in the sense you can't be looking up for details which are, for example, 2022 or much recent times. This won't be giving you results for that. These models are trained for data which was previous, like, for previous years, whatever data was there, that has been passed as an input for these models, and that is what it will be using to provide you answers with. And also occasionally might produce harmful instances or biased content. So these are still in the beta version, or they're still getting trained, and of course data is previous. Like if you see the limited knowledge of the world and the events after 2021, it has very less data to drive its models on and give back you the latest information. So you would see some stuff like this which might not be which should not be relevant, so be aware of that. Well, let's test it out. Let us say if I want to add two numbers, let us say 6 plus 5, and all I have to do is come here and provide my query and just hit send, and then this should give me, if you see, there is a conversation which has started where I have provided something and then ChatGPT responded back with 11. Now this is how it has presented. So I can try to improvise this answer by asking it to try again, like if there is anything different. So now if you see, ChatGPT improvised it and told, okay, sum of 6 and 5 is 11. And then if you see, there are two outcomes to this particular problem which I have asked for. And then you can all, of course, if you like this answer, you can say thumbs up and say correct answer. This helps them to get the feedback and improvise their model. If you don't like it, of course, there is a thumbs down and you can say wrong answer. Well, you can try again and say try again and say the answer is 11. So it has three outcomes, one problem, three outcomes. You can try again and then it will say the same thing, four outcomes, I mean 11. And you can say try again and it goes back to the same thing. So the point here is you can have multiple outcomes for a given problem, and ChatGPT will spit it out for you. So you can keep clicking try again and you will be seeing those outcomes. See, 9 outcomes for that, and just a different way of representing is what it is. That's what are the outcomes for this given problem. Well, you can also ask questions like this. Is Chat GPT an expert at maths? Is something which you can pose a question like this. See, and it tells you I am a large language model trained on OpenAI and do not have expertise on any particular subject, is what it tells. So this is how you can try to talk to it, like pretty much talking to you know a chatbot like a human. This is pretty much human conversation, and that's a context which is set with respect to a math problem here. You can also trick AI by doing stuff like this. Like, can say, like in the same problem, I can say 6 plus 5 is 10, right? Is what I can say. And sometimes you might not get a right answer, and see, in this case, it is returning you that, but here I'm trying to ask, GPT to see if it can do that. See, it is explaining me in much in detail. It's telling like 5, 11. Remember, carry the one if you are doing in addition. It means, see, this is how it is improvising the conversation with the user. Well, this gave us a very good start at, like, understanding where exactly I can put in my query and do stuff like that. Also, you can go to the updates and FAQ section to understand what does the ChatGPT FAQ have. You can see what are the most commonly asked questions and stuff like that. You can figure out here. Also, for example, if I have to shoot a new thread, I can just say new thread, and then this should bring me back to this particular console where I'll be able to ask a new query. Of course, these are some samples using which you can, request for examples that explain what quantum computing is in simple terms and got any creative stuff like that. We'll try to see what exactly we can do with these as well. So let's try some advanced queries with ChatGPT. Let us say I want to make some food today, and I'll ask, um, I want to make something with chicken, and can you provide me with 5 dishes? Is what I want to ask ChatGPT. So ChatGPT model is kind of thinking about what can it offer me right now, and then it is looking to provide me what sort of dishes can be shared with this particular person. So right now it is building that list, and sure, see, this is what it tells, and then it is telling me, well, chicken alfredo is something which I can try. Chicken tikka masala, it's an Indian dish which I would love to have. And let's say it's also offering me chicken parmesan, which is again an interesting. Chicken and rice, interesting option there. And then lemon pepper chicken, wow. All these and what all are contained as part of that particular meal is something which it has offered. Really interesting options here, right? So this gives us an understanding of what is a list prompt all about. You can ask for dishes, and it has curated and given you 5 listed items and exactly with the context of your query, right? Which is very interesting for a AI model. Well, this is very interesting. So now that I have received this list, with this list, I can take this conversation further like I'm talking to a human. I can say, I can ask ChatGPT if I can give a shopping list for first 2 items. Like the context is already set. So I can say, can I uh, get a shopping list for first 2 items, and ChatGPT automatically knows that I'm asking about chicken Alfredo and chicken tikka masala, and then it gives you the shopping list, a list prompt again, which will be the grocery list which you will need to build. Like, every day we go through stuff like that, and we are thinking, I'm sorry, I'm not able to provide a shopping because I'm a student and do not have access to internet about recipes creating shopping. I'm able to provide, well, this is not an answer I like, right? This is not something which I liked. So what I can do, I can ask it to try again. And if I didn't like this option, what I can do is I can say, hey, this is something where the AI model has to be improved. So this is the model which the answer which I got, and then I want to improve the model for answers like this. Now it is thinking again. See, if you see, here is the potential list which is necessary. Like, these are the shopping lists which are necessary for the first 2 dishes. It was able to think again, work on its model, and come out with a very interesting suggestions about what all are necessary. Also, it tells, remember, this is just a suggestion, and you may have to adjust the quantities, ingredients, and stuff like that. But these are pretty much the items which I need to prepare my dishes with respect to a chicken, which is very interesting. Well, that was a really interesting way to understand how exactly ChatGPT could help us with a cooking list and how to work with a list prompt. Let's move ahead and see something technical, like with respect to, let us say, I'm spinning off a new thread, and then let's say, from this example, how do I make a HTTP request in JavaScript? A coding example. Let me say I want to do the same thing in Java. How do I make a REST or make a REST call in Java, right? I can ask this, and this should be giving me a curated answer where, it works in a certain way where it first builds me a context or understanding with respect to how exactly I can make a REST call in Java. From there, once I'm into this conversation, it's like talking to someone and asking him, how do I make a REST call in Java? If you see, it's saying a REST call in Java, you can use the HTTP URL connection, and then see, it's giving me a skeleton of the code, and which you can pretty much copy here, use it, and build your method pretty much from scratch. Like, it is literally doing all the heavy lifting of the skeleton which is necessary to build a Java code to write a REST endpoint which does a get operation. It is pretty much writing the entire code for you. This code is a get request. For example, right now it has given me something which will be helping me in performing a get operation with REST. Well, this is just the beginning where you got just a sample code. You can use this and customize it to your taste, or you can also ask GPT to customize this for you. Here it is telling you this code sends a get request, and I can ask GPT to, like, update the REST request to fetch the list of states in US, and let us see if it can do that. Let's see if it can improvise this current code, and and give me a code which will be precisely, though this endpoint doesn't exist, you can replace it with the endpoint which you want to use. Let us see if it can improvise this current request and give me a code where uh, you know, fetching a list of states using a REST call in Java. See, it understands the context that right now we are working with Java, and it wants to help us with the example for that. See, this endpoint might not exist, but it is actually at runtime developing a code which will help you fetch, the list of states. See, it's telling you the URL should be like, name, comma, forward slash by United States, and this is pretty much the code which you can literally use and of course tweak for the parameters, and then you should be able to utilize this code into your environment, and you should be able to spin off this particular fetch request to get all the states in United States. Isn't it so wonderful that there's a AI tool which can help you code in a smarter way just by running such queries? Well, it also explains you what this code is doing, like list of countries and stuff like that, right? Also, we can take this conversation further. We can ask it to, like, explain it further or put it into a website, stuff like that. I could say, loop through the data from and response and place them in a website uh, for states. Like, I can pass something like that, and let us see. So you have to be very specific in terms of asking these queries to chat gpt, because the way you form the context, it's like talking to a human and being in the context when you're asking something. You can't just randomly take a tangent when you're discussing, but you should give it a context so that it can understand that context and give you the corresponding results which will help you you know go over that. So loop through, see, now it is building a website where you can show states like literally from building a REST request, and in that REST request we added states, and then those states are being fetched as part of a REST response. And now we are able to build a UI code which is like, HTML and JavaScript incorporated, where it is trying to build a HTML with a, JSON response which is being like, uh, traversed, and based on the document element it is able to build that entire code which you can use wherever you want. In this way you can pretty much ask it to do anything and it will be doing it for you. Well, that was a really good understand. Well, that was a really good example using which we understood how exactly ChatGPT could be a really good peer who can help us develop or build coding, and we can use this extensively in that. Let's take one step ahead and let me spin off a new thread, and let me ask ChatGPT to tell me a story. Okay, I've just asked ChatGPT to tell me a story, and then this should go back into the models and pull out a story which would be having some say. Let us see what does ChatGPT come out with. So it's saying, once upon a time in a faraway land, there was a beautiful princess named Rose. Rose was a kind, smart, and whatever it is, like, a small story which is about um, a Rose. I think she's a princess, about her and Leo. Immediately they fell in love, and what happened with respect to that is something which is he's pulling out a entire story just based on this particular request. And what I can do, once I have received this story, I can curate this, I can get into the context, and I can add more feeling into this particular story and curate the story to be like, specific for a certain emotion. Let us say I want more patience as part of the story, like, and let us see how exactly we can do that. So it is printing out the entire story. So Rose, who built a village and then they lived happily, and I can curate this further. Well, if I feel the story is kind of too big, I can say, uh, can you please, can you, let us say, shorten this shorten this story and add a joke in, is what I can say. So what ChatGPT is going to do is it's going to take, because it is understanding the context where I'm trying to talk about, it's going to pick that entire story, make it much shorter, and also it's making sure it's going to add a joke as part of this particular story. See, improves, and then it's who love, but their parents didn't approve, so they ran away together. There was capture, and just kidding. See, there was both eaten by a dragon and their way to the village at the end. See, it just curated that thing, and then and I can again say like, can you lengthen uh, uh, GTHE the story and add a moral uh, about patience, like, a lesson which, like, can you lengthen it and then add something about a lesson which talks about patience. Yes, it can do it. It can just curate it and do it just in seconds. You have your story ready and you should be able to get going with respect to that. See, for a villain, and it's going to lengthen it, and I'm gonna fast forward this so that the entire story gets loaded, and then this is how you can utilize the context and make use of chat gpt to perform such operations as well. Another popular way to use chat gpt is generating content. Let us say I want to uh, provide me uh, with privacy and copyright copyright content for my software website, let us say. And this should give you a ready template which you can utilize, and of course you can modify that further to build your own or customize it with this boilerplate code or this ready-made. See, sure, here is a privacy statement. Your software company name is what you will be providing here and committed for like you don't have to write it from scratch. This already helps you like providing with all these details which you can utilize and build on top of this, which is a very useful use case available here. A very important aspect of ChatGPT which can be utilized in building or getting content for these topics. This way you could use this to provide queries about any of your topics, and then you should be able to get the details. This is how it is generating this content. Well, that was interesting. So let's jump on to the most interesting part where we work with resumes and cover letters. Let us say I want to write a professional cover letter for a position of a cloud developer at a company called Google for myself. And then I'm someone who knows basics of cloud computing. And this should help me, like, GPT should help me give, ChatGPT will give me a precise, cover letter for example XYZ corporation, which you will have to update. I have had opportunity to apply for my knowledge, and then practical setting, and then stuff like that. It's able to build this cover letter for me, and then I should be able to utilize this in my cover letter. Of course, I can curate it further. Let us see what it provides, and then from there we'll curate it further. Well, it gave me a brief cover letter where it is telling me I'm working for XYZ corporation and stuff like that. Most of this might not be true, so I may want to update it. So I can copy it and update, but I can also ask uh, ChatGPT to update it. Let us say I wasn't working in any previous organization before. I was just a freelancer and I was doing helping clients with with migration. I can say that to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT should be happy to update my cover letter, removing my previous job experience, but saying I was a freelance developer and helped many clients in cloud migration. Well, I can ask that. So, because it knows the context, now it is again writing that, hey, dear hiring manager, I'm writing to apply for this cloud developer role at Google and recent graduate with degree of computer science, strong understanding basics, and it would have removed the previous experience section where it was telling I was a developer at a XYZ corporation. As a freelance developer, I had opportunity to several clients. See, it curated that entire information and gave you a much interesting paradigm with respect to your cover letter, and which you can utilize and build it further. Well, this is interesting. So my cover letter looks really, really attractive. I can take this conversation further with ChatGPT and I can say, hey, can you build me a resume as well with this context? I can say, like, based on this cover letter, write a resume which includes list of skills and languages, etc., for this particular position which I'm applying for. And ChatGPT should be happy to, build that. See, Abdul Kader with this email, and then phone number, summary. I have this bachelor's degree, and then university, the skills like cloud computing, algorithm, data structures. See, it's automatically building this particular resume which has all these details about me, which is very helpful in giving me a skeleton to work with and build my resume out, which is a big challenge today. If you ask someone to build a resume, there are so many resume services which will be using to build it, but you can utilize a tool like this to build that. Well, that was interesting, and this helped us understand how exactly we can use this in building our resume. That's good. So, ChatGPT is a lover for someone who wants to work on blogs. Let us say I want to pick certain topics for a blog topic. For example, cloud security is something which interests me. I would say provide me 10 blog topics for articles about cloud security, and it should throw me you know top 10 of those, the role of encryption in protecting data and stuff like that. See, these are 10 famous topics which we will be looking at, for example, in terms of getting a topic for for a given specific blog. I can make use of ChatGPT to generate this. I like the topic about encryption. So let us say I need variations on that. I can say, give me five variations on topic. Uh, And then this should, list me the different variations which are available for that particular encryption topic, how encryption technology keeps your cloud data secure, stuff like that. And see, it curated this particular list with these five variations. So let us say I liked this particular title, and I can say, I can ask to spin off a blog and say, provide, I want an outline for my, blog. Let us say, provide outline for of, I guess, of article titled, and I can pass the title, and ChatGPT should give me an outline, an introduction, which talks about, what exactly this is all about, defining cloud computing and encryption technology, introduction section, which is really, really, brief and helps you understand what exactly this topic is all about. Pretty much everything which is relevant and in the context of cloud security. See, it gave me a baseline, and then I can build on top of this. Well, this is a really good start for my blog. I can, of course, say, I can go ahead in this conversation and say, can you give me, I want the introduction section to be at least five uh, sentences long. I want a pretty brief introduction, and I can pass that, and ChatGPT should be able to do that for me. Like, see, cloud computing. See, the introduction got elongated now, and it's telling cloud computing is become increasingly popular. The way the organizations to store, manage, and do stuff like that. Now, if you see, um, it has added five sentences in the introduction area because I asked to build the blog with this particular change. Not just that, but you could also, for example, if I want to rephrase this particular sentence, I can ask ChatGPT to do that. I can say, I can copy this, and I can say, rephrase the sentence, and I could pass that sentence, and then this would be rephrased. See, and it's pretty much like, using different nuance in English and then replacing it. And then I can also say lengthen this, like, I can use this sentence and I can say lengthen mm, the sentence, and it would give you exactly the, a lengthened sentence. And this way you can play around and build your blog to the best possible extent and update the content by, see, it has lengthened that particular sentence and it has given you this output. Well, also what I can do is I can do the reverse. I can say shorten the above sentence, right? I can do that as well. And then it should be able to, like, shorten it and give you a much smaller thing. Like, you see, it has just shortened it and it gave you uh, a short sentence for the bigger paragraph which we saw. Also, something which this helps us with is, like, you can translate the above sentence in, for example, French, right? And then the sentence should be translated to French, and I can say translate uh, back to English in a funny way. I can just say, like, just trying to play around, say English, and then I can say crucial in protecting data. See, it just clowns, bananas, and peels. So it can do stuff like this. Also, I can do a much specific tasks with these with the chat gpt. Also, what I can do is, for example, if I have to send out this particular blog as a newsletter, I can ask for GPT to build a subject line with the above content, and then it should be giving me that details, like, protect your data from evil, and that's a tagline it has given. That's a really interesting, deep dive in understanding what is chat gpt all about. Well, thank you, and I really appreciate you giving me this time in helping you walk through what is ChatGPT all about. And I'm really, really happy if you can give me a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe and share this particular content. If you like this content, leave me a comment and let me know what you want to know more about, and I'll be happy to help you out on that. Till then, cheers, and keep using ChatGPT for your day-to-day usage. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.